You think Diddy was rogue or Diddy was like a Epstein type, working for somebody?
That's a good question. Well, it would be a
'Cause he had the
great
juice
way
on
to
a lot of people.
compromise celebrities. Yeah,
Yep.
and get them to say whatever you want them to do, get them to do whatever projects you'd like them to do. And, you know, if you're a bunch of other celebrities are there, you're like, oh, look, Bill Clinton's here. This is fine.
Yeah.
Deviance is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
Conversations with people about it, and it's like, Jesus, like just trying to get the documents, like when they're trying to get the Epstein files, like the state of New York, one of the district attorneys was they were hiding documents that have forced them to get documents. I think there's so many fucking powerful people that are on those lists. There's so many powerful people that went and partied, air quotes, partied. And how many of them went to the Diddy parties?
Joe Rogan just released a full list of A-list celebrities Diddy allegedly named from inside prison. And the streets are not prepared for who's on it. These aren't random people either. Word is, their names tied to him closely. And right now, a lot of them are looking very uncomfortable. If even a fraction of what he's saying checks out, Hollywood is about to go dead silent. The first name hitting hardest is Ellen DeGeneres. And people are genuinely puzzled because the moment the Diddy situation started picking up real heat, Ellen disappeared. No press runs, no public statements, no late night appearances. All of it just stopped. You remember last year when Ellen quietly left the US? She turned up overseas, settled into life in England, and has been keeping an extremely low profile. Publicly, she blamed politics, said she wasn't feeling the direction the country was heading. But the streets never really bought that story. The timing was just too convenient. The heat around Diddy was rising, talk of old files getting reopened was spreading, and powerful names were starting to sweat. Ellen's exit lined up with all of that perfectly. Here's what the panel had to say about it. I find this so fascinating because Ellen was canceled by the left first. She literally said she was pushed out of show business, and that wasn't coming from the right. That was about the toxic workplace situation and everything that came with it. So she gets canceled by her own side, but now she's leaving the country because the other side got elected. I'm just saying that doesn't completely add up. Did she even sell her house? Is she really gone? She's already there. She announced England. One panelist admitted, I don't know. I've met her mother, and I don't think she would have agreed with that move. The mother is very down to earth. Here's the thing, though. Ellen and Diddy weren't just casually connected through the industry. He was a recurring guest on her show, cracking jokes about wild parties, dropping little hints about his lifestyle, while she sat across from him, smiling like none of it was a big deal. Looking back at those clips now, they hit completely different. There was that nickname she gave him on air, Cuddle McNuggle, and when people asked about it, she brushed it off and said audiences didn't need to know why. Back then, people laughed it off.
I never thought that we would see the day where Diddy would get arrested, and I told you guys in that Maria Z interview in 2021 that no one tells on Diddy. P. Diddy. All right? Just the same way nobody tells on Denzel Washington. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party. I was one of the party favors. But I told you, nobody tells on Diddy. Maria Z, I did that interview in 2021, 7 months ago. We made sure, I already knew, that Diddy and Oprah is about to get arrested.
Now, with everything that surfaced about the private sessions and the recordings, that whole energy feels deeply familiar in the worst possible way. There was even a clip of her inviting him to her birthday. Wait, so tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited? He said, yes, you're definitely invited, I invite you to all my parties, you just haven't seemed to show up. She replied, well, is it on the East Coast? He said, yes. She said, that's why. Why don't you have one out here on the West Coast? He told her, because I work all the time. She laughed and said, maybe I'll have one at your house. What time would the party even start? He told her. She said, really? That early? The audio clip drops first. Two voices talking casually about a late-night hotel situation, floors reserved, party running past 2 a.m., after party already planned like it's routine. It sounds like nothing at first. Then you start thinking about who's involved, and the whole thing shifts. Joe Rogan wasn't done after his first round of comments. Word spread that he pushed the angle even harder, this time dropping what was described as evidence pointing toward Ellen running a casting couch pipeline operating right alongside Diddy. Young talent getting comfortable on the daytime couch, then allegedly getting pulled into private circles later. Names like Sophia Grace and Rosie, the viral kids she helped put on the map, started getting looked at all over again. People online began asking why so many very young kids kept getting introduced to these powerful environments at such an early age. The pattern was hard to ignore once you started seeing it. Ellen and Diddy's friendship always felt a little too comfortable on camera. They joked openly about after-hours activity like the audience was already in on something. Now people are going back through every clip asking how daytime television ever got that relaxed about those kinds of conversations in the first place. Rogan said what a lot of people were already thinking. If Diddy is in prison naming names, Ellen sits near the top of the list of people who moved through the same rooms and still haven't answered for what happened behind those closed doors. Next name circling around is Oprah Winfrey. Rogan has been vocal about private messages between her and Diddy that may still be out there. If those conversations ever fully surface, people are saying it could completely change how the public sees one of the most powerful women in media. For years, people dismissed the warnings. Kat had been saying the truth would catch up to these heavy names, and most folks just laughed it off. They're not laughing now. An old clip of Oprah resurfaced where she was asked about the Epstein and Diddy situation. Her response raised serious questions. She said it should be called seduction, and if the seduction is good, the victim enjoys it. The streets started asking what kind of person says that unless they already understand the process from the inside. One voice in the clip puts it plainly. All of these powerful predators are catching consequences in 2024. Every single lie is going to come out. Doesn't matter who you are or who you know. Anyone who takes that the wrong way already knows exactly why they feel some kind of way about it. The truth doesn't need permission to show itself. And today the timeline keeps getting heavier. Diddy is already behind bars, locked up after more than 120 accusers stacked lawsuits against him, according to attorney Tony Busby. The conversation about accomplices and the powerful people who helped build that whole environment around him never went quiet. Ali Carter had spent years making claims that she was used as a party favor at gatherings tied to powerful people, and that other major names would eventually come under fire. She even called Diddy's arrest before it happened. Rose McGowan had gone after Oprah directly during the Weinstein fallout, raising the idea that certain powerful people in entertainment were more interested in protecting each other than telling the truth about what they knew. Dr. Umar Johnson and Jaguar Wright were both pointing at the same tight inner circles, where staying quiet and staying loyal were the unspoken rules. When the Epstein documents dropped millions of pages earlier this year, the public finally started seeing just how connected those elite networks really were. People also started taking another look at the old controversy surrounding the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, where serious misconduct allegations against a dorm staff member triggered investigations and lawsuits. There's a lot of layers to this. The behavior we're covering today stretched across more than 20 years, and it involved a wide range of people and organizations. The investigators on this case have made their position clear. There are many people and many entities involved, and we're going to follow this evidence wherever it takes us. We will find the silent accomplices. We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates. Now, Ali Carter described herself as a party favor. When she was asked to break that down, she explained it plainly. I was somebody you could take off the table.
The conduct we will describe today occurred over more than 20 years. There are many people and many entities involved. And we're going to follow this evidence wherever it takes us. We will find the silent accomplices. We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates.
The interviewer pushed further, asking if she meant that at these parties, people were placed out like gift bags at a birthday, where anyone who showed up could just take one. Her answer was yes. At the so-called freak-off parties, she said people were set out just like that, and guests could pick who they wanted, even when it crossed every line. Carter also made another bold claim. I never thought that we would see the day where Diddy would get arrested, she said, reminding her audience that she called it back in a 2021 interview with Maria Z. No one tells on Diddy, P. Diddy, just the same way nobody tells on Denzel Washington. I was at a Diddy party. I was one of the party favors. She went further, saying that 7 or 8 months before the arrest, she already knew Diddy and Oprah were about to face legal trouble, and that sworn documents had already been secured to back it up. Rose McGowan had her own words for Oprah. She called her out publicly on Twitter over her history with controversial men, writing, "From being pals with Harvey Weinstein to abandoning and destroying Russell Simmons victims, she is about supporting a sick power structure for personal gain." She is as fake as they come. People took that quote, stacked it next to the rumored private messages, and started asking the same question Joe Rogan keeps putting out loud. If Diddy is naming names from behind bars, calling out people who move just as reckless, why is Oprah still walking around free while he's locked up? Then Ashton Kutcher's name started coming up. Old footage keeps making its way back around, showing him right in the middle of those elite white party gatherings, grinning, dancing, looking way too relaxed for someone who later claimed he was just briefly passing through. That's not the body language of someone who felt out of place. When he actually got asked about those parties in public, the response told its own story. He froze, stumbled over his words, threw in long pauses and nervous laughs. That's exactly the kind of answer that makes people feel like a whole lot more is being left on the table. Things got worse when people remembered that Ashton and Mila both wrote letters defending Danny Masterson after the conviction. That decision forced him to step away from the anti-trafficking organization he helped start, and it made a lot of people question what circles he's actually moving in. Joe Rogan laid all of that history next to the Diddy tapes and the names surfacing from prison, and said the streets are now asking a harder question. How deep was Ashton really in that world? And why does everything feel so uncomfortable once you line up the parties, the defense letters, and the sudden distance? Diddy party stories. Is there a favorite genre of anecdote if you have one? Yeah. Wow. Okay. I've got a lot. I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. Diddy party stories, man. That was like some weird memory lane. Chrissy Teigen's name is now being pulled into the same pile. People went digging after she wiped out over 60,000 old posts once the pressure started building. Those deleted messages and comments raised serious questions, with many online pointing to language that hinted at darker conversations, ones involving people who weren't of age, and patterns that looked like recruitment. There was also an old clip that resurfaced where she talked about being willing to try something in a fancy setting if the person said it was okay, along with an awkward exchange she refused to address on camera. The pizza references that had people raising eyebrows, and a long pattern of comments that the internet flagged as crossing very serious lines when it came to young people. The elite crowd keeps showing the same playbook once things get hot. Delete the posts, go quiet, act like none of it happened. When you were on David Chang's Netflix show, you talked about the weirdest thing you would eat. Before you say that, we've got a little clip here. If the person okayed it, I would eat. If you were at a very fancy restaurant and they were like a tiny piece of meat. No, I think the only way you wouldn't try a tiny bite. No, really? David Chang couldn't even form words.
Yo, what the did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes.
That's the level we're talking about. When someone who's eaten everything, cooked everything, and seen everything in fine dining just goes silent, you know the conversation went somewhere most people aren't ready to go. And yeah, the moment it came out, even the person saying it knew it wasn't going to land well. The online reaction? Absolutely brutal. One user said she and her husband should be arrested, calling him wimpy and saying she prays for Australian children. Another went in calling her a lowlife with money, saying judgment was coming. Then someone just flat out said, "The girl is so ugly. How does she even get the title of a model? That's one sick contract she signed." And one more chimed in asking how anyone could laugh with her, calling the whole thing evil. Now here's what Diddy is reportedly pushing from behind bars. His whole angle is simple. If he's going down for building and running that environment, then every single person who kept it going, or looked the other way while it did, should be sitting exactly where he's sitting right now. Paris Hilton is next on the list. All through the 2000s and into the 2010s, she was a constant fixture at his legendary white parties, birthday celebrations, and big-ticket gatherings. Old posts came back around where she called one of his house parties unforgettable, saying he had amazing energy and a heart of gold. Someone even said on camera, "The best party I've ever been to was at Puffy's 50th birthday. It was so sick, epic." People are now asking whether she just showed up, had fun, and walked out, or whether she witnessed things the public never heard about and kept that knowledge tucked away while everything kept spinning. Sliding down further, we get to Snoop Dogg. Decades in the same industry, same rooms, same private spaces. Insiders like Ali Carter have claimed his name has been circling serious allegations since 2020, well before Diddy ever got sentenced. Nothing major stuck publicly. He just kept smiling, kept performing, kept getting celebrated, while older rumors about industry betrayals and information getting passed around never fully went away. Joe Rogan has been pointing at how certain names stayed protected while others took the fall. And the streets have never stopped talking about the old rumors connecting Snoop to Tupac's death, with some even suggesting Puff played a role too, something Pac himself hinted at after getting shot the first time. Then in December 2020, someone on camera said, "Everybody knew that Snoop Dogg, not again, mentioned him, but everybody beat the hell out of me." Screw you! That can't be true. What the hell do I know? And just recently, it surfaced again that Snoop Dogg got hit with trafficking accusations. What happened next? Everyone just moved on. Snoop showed up at the halftime show, and the whole thing got buried under the celebration. One artist, when asked point blank whether Puffy was involved in the shooting, didn't dodge but didn't spill either. "I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine." Then came the kicker. "I believe so. I do believe so. I have proof. Things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. It's between me and him, and only he knows." Kevin Hart sits in a different kind of spot, quieter, but just as telling. He was in the mix during the Flavor Camp era, and old footage of him around Diddy carries a strange energy in hindsight, like a man keeping his distance without making it too obvious. At the BET Awards, Hart shut down after parties and locked the show in on a Monday, so people couldn't stick around late into the night. The industry didn't read that as a scheduling choice. They read it as a boundary. Then there's this clip where Diddy gets on camera and starts talking about Hart like they're family. That's my brother right here from day one. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes, before pause was invented, but it's my brother for real. And Hart's reaction said everything words didn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's got cameras everywhere. It's just one guy doing that. What a diabolical human being.
Yeah.
He seems pretty diabolical.
He's probably working with somebody. Or for somebody.
Maybe.
And maybe he just got too far out there.
Yo, what did Puff just say? Nobody's going to just for me? Puff just said we used to wrestle over the Frosted Flakes and we're streaming live? Then the scramble kicks in. Cut the camera. Cut the camera off. Someone mutters about technical difficulties. Then, when you're with troopers, we act as troopers and we fix situations. The whole thing gets papered over with jokes about Trigger Trey's black belt in first aid and Taryn from 106 Park's extremely small waistline. But people on the streets caught exactly what Hart was communicating underneath all that noise. That reaction wasn't embarrassment. That was a man who'd seen enough to know when to pull back fast and play it off smooth. Joe Rogan has been pointing to moments exactly like that one as evidence that the names Diddy's reportedly dropping from inside aren't random at all. Mace rounds out the heavier end of this list, and his story carries a weight that's in a league of its own. He was there from the very beginning of Bad Boy. The parties, the contracts, the backroom deals, a full decade spent trying to break free from that label. When Diddy finally cut him loose in front of the cameras, Mace didn't look relieved so much as he looked stunned, almost nervous, grateful in a way that honestly wasn't a good look. He even cracked a joke that he wasn't used to Puff doing anything decent for him. That one joke said everything you needed to hear. 50 Cent has been dropping hints that certain old bad boy voices are sitting on testimony that could blow a whole lot of doors wide open. Joe Rogan is putting Maze in the same category as other names that deserve to be part of this conversation. People who knew exactly how heavy that machine was and stayed quiet just long enough to make it out alive. Line those names up side by side and the pattern doesn't look like coincidence anymore. Ellen disappearing overseas the second the pressure spiked. Oprah's name getting attached to private circles and old networks that whistleblowers kept pointing straight at. Ashton locking up the moment party questions got too specific. Chrissy Teigen's overlapping social circles getting pulled apart and re-examined. Paris hyping those same rooms that later got exposed for what they really were. Snoop still celebrated, while older allegations collected dust. Kevin drawing quiet lines in the sand once the fallout started hitting home. Mace looking genuinely shocked by something as basic as freedom after years spent under that same roof. Joe Rogan's point is that Diddy didn't just throw out random names from a prison cell. He named the people who ran in those same spaces, who benefited from staying silent, and who should be sitting down answering the exact same questions right now. So the spotlight's on the crowd that's still quiet. How many more names are holding their breath, hoping this list never gets any longer? What does it say about this industry when the people who partied the hardest are the exact same ones who vanished the fastest the moment federal heat showed up? And if Diddy is calling them out from behind bars as equally guilty, how long before the streets start demanding the same accountability for every single name on that list? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear where you stand on this. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and stay locked in because the next jaw dropper is loading up right now. See you in the next one.